Many years ago, when I first joined Toastmasters, I went to a roast of Robert Rizzo, and one of his favorite people said, Robert Rizzo's in Toastmasters because he doesn't have a life. And the truth is, we're all in Toastmasters because it's part of our life. We've accepted the challenge, we've committed to Toastmasters, and every day we act with enthusiasm, and excitement. I'm going to talk about some different people today. I'll try not to move around too much. The all-county grammarian will be getting on me for that also. I happen to be in a club with two other members, Steve McCann and Dr. Joel Ying. Now you say it's a big deal. But we're not just in one club, we're in three clubs together. Monday night, 7 p.m., Tuesday morning, 7:30 a.m., Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Now I like seeing them. Unfortunately, they have to see me 3 times in 2 days, which is somewhat difficult because I can be caustic, maybe. Why are you laughing at me? You're making me feel bad. So the first 2 years when I saw Dr. Joel, I would say, Dr. Joel, are you really a doctor? And he would say, yes, I'm a doctor. I said, doctors carry stethoscopes. So he brought me a stethoscope. And he said, you can have this. I said, you really can't be a doctor if you're giving your stethoscope away. I have a third amigo, that is Robert Rizzo. And Robert and I do a lot of things together. In fact, he is the other member of this committee. Robert is an accountant, Steve is a lawyer, Dr. Joel is a doctor, and I am a lawn man. Now, only in Toastmasters can you meet people in other walks of life that you would not meet in your everyday life. That is one of the great things about Toastmasters. I'm going to talk about Robert Rizzo a few times today. I hope he doesn't feel bad. He's used to it. I went into my first Toastmaster meeting and I got to meet Robert. He was my mentor. And he said, you want to be in a contest? Okay. So I was in the Table Toppers contest. And that's when I met Scott J. Vale. Say hi, Scott. Scott is a three-time division champion. And he was he's the first great speaker I ever saw. He's actually a world champion without a trophy. And when I saw Scott, I said, wow, that's what I want to be. But I beat him in the Table Toppers contest. And since 2012, he's been mad at me. And he asks me every time, he says, Chris, how did you beat me in Table Topics? And I'm finally going to tell the truth. It's Robert Rizzo's fault. He did not explain Table Topics to me. It was a 5-word question. I did not understand it. The question was, it's all about. And I did not understand it, and I somehow won. Here's how Table Topics works. Christopher Pritchard, it's all about. It's all about Christopher Pritchard. Wow! My favorite subject. And I won. Sorry, Scott. We all start Toastmasters the same way. Table topics. We walk in, we do our first table topics, and we're encouraged by the other people in the room. They'll say, wow, that was great. No matter how bad it was, they tell you it was great. And you say, wow, this is for me. I'm going to go off script here. I've often told couples that if you get your husband and wife to join, that she has to listen to you for 7 minutes. Honestly, we start with table topics, and we develop the star within us. Now that is Robert's catchphrase, and he gets 10 cents every time we say it. So he'll be saying it a few times later. Brenda, you know how much you owe him for that. After we accept the challenge and develop the fellowship, it's time to commit to Toastmasters. Now I'm talking about Robert Rizzo again, because Robert Rizzo has 4 DTMs, and people think he's working on one for the thumb, but he's not really. He is a committed member of Toastmasters, and a few years ago, I got a call from mad that he didn't have a treasurer. And I said, I will get even with Robert. I will make him the treasurer. But Robert did it not because he wanted another distinguished trophy. He did it because he's committed to the organization. People do not know that Robert is the best dressed Toastmaster there ever was. Everyone know that? Yes. This is one of his pocket scarves. See, it's got 4 colors. And he has an entire collection. He can do one for any color. And I decided I was going to beat Robert with my pocket scarf. Would you hold that, please? I've got you beat, Robert.
Way to go, Chris.
Steve McCann is committed to Toastmasters. He joined in 1989. That's 27 years ago. Wow. Congratulations, Steve. This past year, Brenda Lacco and Lynn Perry were committed to Toastmasters, along with Tom Boyd. Now, they had a difficult year, and we know that Tom passed away. And they came through. Congratulations, they are a select, distinguished division. I want to talk about Tom Boyd's commitment to Toastmasters. When I was conference chair, I talked to him on the phone, and he would not tell me he was sick. He would say, I'm weak, I don't have good energy, the doctors don't know what to do. And he didn't tell me he was in a bad way, just that he wasn't doing well. This past January, Tom came to the deck meeting. Now, if anyone's been to a deck meeting, only myself and Brenda think they're exciting. Everyone else thinks they are long and boring. But Tom, in spite of his illness, came to the January deck meeting in a wheelchair, and he could barely speak. He tried to address us because he was committed to Toastmasters. And then again in March, when he came, he was doing much better. He actually was able to talk, got out of his wheelchair, I believe. And I was quite happy that he was doing better, but he unfortunately passed away. That is not the point. The point is, some of us, when we get sick, we curl up in a ball, and Tom completed his commitment and came to the deck meetings. And I'd like to congratulate him for that. The final part of my talk is completing your walk to success with enthusiasm and excitement. Now, I mentioned Brenda and Lynn. Now, they had other things to overcome this past year, which no matter how much advance notice you have, you cannot overcome certain things. Me. Now, if Lynn had talked to my mother, she would have told you what to do. Open the door and let me run out. Dwight's laughing because his mother probably did the same thing. And I can be a little difficult because I have a little bit more excitement than everyone else. And I also have one problem that I learned. You've heard the go ahead and do it and then ask for an apology later, apologize later. How does that go? Right, well, I forgot the forgiveness part. I would just do what I wanted to do, and that's why what I'm going to do now comes as a surprise. So I talked to the committee. I said, Robert, I want to give an award in Tom's name at our Division H conference. But I know that Brenda might want to do it for the division, for the district, so I won't ask her. I'm just going to do it. So there's a picture of Tom Boyd from 2012, which had a special meaning to me if you saw it in the program. Tom, in 2012, was the Division E director. And he would always do this. At the end, he'd go. He would do this for Division E. And then he didn't realize he would look at it to see if he had the E right. So it always went like this. And this was at the end of the deck meeting, got people charged up. And I thought, Tom always had a lot of enthusiasm, even to the end of the meeting. So I have decided, along with the rest of our committee, to give an award. It's not called the Tom Boyd Award. I'm saving that for the district. This is a Toastmaster Communication Achievement Award, which is the first time we're going to award this. It's special from Toastmasters. And this member has put up with me and my comments. So I'm going to tell you some of the comments before we call the member up. This particular member, and I'm going to hold on a second. It was unanimous. The committee voted unanimously. The first member to be recognized was, that's the one. This particular member has a box of cards for table topics, which I'm always mocking. And he broke the box, and I'm always mocking that. And he is a studious member. He comes to every meeting, but does not speak a lot. In fact, the other day, we were at a meeting, and they said, who wants to speak? And his hand went up, and Dr. Joe had whiplash. I had to give him mouth to mouth because he practically fell over. But what happened was, the member did not want to speak. He had a question about the date of the meeting. This member also does a great job as a all-county grammarian. The only problem is, he has, in his file cabinet at his office, 27 years of all-county grammarian reports. So please welcome Steve McCann to win the Communication and Excellence Award. I will speak for Steve. I will speak for Steve. If I was to give a speech today, actually, Steve is very funny. Go ahead and say a few words, Steve.
Thanks for the award, unexpected, and actually, Chris went easy on me. You should hear what he tells me when nobody else is
In closing, I want to remind you that Toastmasters is part of your life. It doesn't take much time to spend an hour or two every week or every other week with your friends. You should accept the challenge, commit to the Toastmaster organization, and develop your own enthusiasm for the Toastmaster way of life. And Mr. Toastmaster,